The Crossroads represents a place where two or more roads intersect. And figuratively, a crossroads is that crucial point in life at which a critical decision is made that oftentimes will determine future direction. For many of us, sports are a reflection of life, and sometimes life can even feel like a reflection of sports. At this crossroads, we will dive into the good, the bad, and the sometimes ugly with your favorite athletes, coaches, and entertainers to give you a peek behind the curtain. How do they balance real life with their passions? How do they overcome obstacles? What did they learn from each challenge along the way? We're about to find out. Welcome to the Crossroads, the intersection of sports and life. And here's your host of the Crossroads, Shawn Walli.
Back for another episode of The Crossroads. I'm Shawn Walli, and joining me today is none other than St. Martin's University men's basketball head coach, Aaron Landon. Coach, thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
You had an amazing 25-26 campaign, winning the Great Northwest Athletic Conference regular season title, and doubling that with the conference championship as well. How high was the 25-26 season for you?
It was great. We've had a couple of championships before, but we haven't won the tournament. And so it's a great culminating event that we've been a part of, but this is obviously the first time we've won it. So made the season a little bit different and cool for the group to kind of have their own thing that they've done that nobody else has done before, because they hear a lot about those groups as soon as they get to St. Martin. So they stamped it and it's theirs, and part of a great year, and enjoyed the NCAA tournament a week after that, which fell on our spring break. So pretty cool year.
Which do you hold in a higher regard, the regular season championship or the conference tournament?
Regular season, not even close. And I know you broadcast the tournament. The tournament's a really cool thing. It's a special event. But as a competitor, I personally see it as you got a 3-month tournament, and that's our 18 GNAC games. And then you have a 3-day tournament, and, any of those 6 teams can win 3 games or 2 if you're a top 2 seed. So I just think that the challenge of 18 games is naturally harder, longer, and you go through more. So for me, that's the deal. But the tournament is really cool, and not to take anything away from anybody that's won that. That's a really cool event, and we thought that was really special too. But for me, it's the regular season.
You've had many honors in the Great Northwest Athletic Conference for yourself, for your team, players of the year, MVPs, that sort of thing. How rewarding is it for you to get those accolades for you and your players?
It's an honor. I always feel frustrated because I feel like it's not, how should I say this? I don't think that how we vote for all conference reflects the same values that I have. So to sort of expand on that a little bit, I think that winners should be rewarded. When I was coaching junior college, the MVP always came from the championship team. And you would sort of load the teams up based on who was winning the most. And so, those awards, I always feel like somebody gets slighted if you're in a year where you win the title. And we talk to our guys about that, not letting, that award be the end all. And same thing with the Coach of the Year award. It's an honor and grateful for it, but it's not my thing. I mean, Tyler and Wesley, they're such a big part of the program and my life. And, if anybody, our players know, and even our fans, I don't think they fully realize, unless they've seen us practice, our coaching, me and Tyler, is such a collaboration. And if you walk in, you see him coaching our defense, and I'm usually trying either some dumb play I want to run offensively, or I really enjoy, studying the other coaches in the GNAC and, running their offenses. And so I'm sort of trying out offensive stuff against his defensive stuff, which he's been unbelievable with, and I really think that that's the reason we had a great year this year was his defense that he sort of coaches. So sometimes those awards don't really tell the story, but that's kind of the cool thing about sports is the story. Only the guys in the locker room know the story.
You mentioned that your team, of course, made it to the NCAA West Regional, won a game, which is incredible. What is it like for your squad, for the program, to get to the national stage?
We try to talk about it just being another game and another opponent. And the way the Division II tournament is set up, for people that don't know, is it's different. You're playing teams from your region, and we were the number 2 seed. So I would have loved to go play against a number 15 seed, but you're playing the number 7 team in the West region, out of 36 teams. So you're going to play somebody really good right off the bat. And it's a different deal. So for us, because they're teams in our region, we're a little bit more familiar. The NCAA does a good job making you feel like it's the big dance, and they fly you down. You don't really do anything. They put you in touch with a travel agent, and then I'd credit our department for making it cool. It fell on our spring break, and just thought everybody made it cool. Our AD, Teresa Hansen, green-lighted us to go down basically 2 days early since we didn't have class, and we were able to go down, and it was warm in California, and we went up to Berkeley, and we practiced at Cal, and we had our athletic trainer with us full time, and he had our guys doing rehab stuff in the pool, and we had Davis Carball with us, and he was able to capture a bunch of those moments and give us content and pictures that we'll have forever. So it was cool. It was really frustrating the way it ended, but I bet every team says that except for the teams that win it all. So unless you're Michigan or one of those teams, you're mad at how your season ends. So cool experience, frustrated at the end, but grateful that our guys got us back there first time in a couple years.
Throughout your time at St. Martin's, you've had a good amount of former players want to learn from you, grow from you as an assistant coach. What does that mean to you that these guys that you've mentored as players now want to grow as a coach?
That to me is more important than like a coach of the year or anything that I could have, is that those guys, after putting up with me for a few years, would be willing to come back and work with me. It's the greatest compliment you can get when players that you really admire, they want to keep working with you and continue to spend valuable time in their life around you. So that's meant a ton, and Wesley Reynolds played for me at South Puget Sound, and so I hold him in the same regard, and Tyler, never got to coach him in a game, but I was the one that recruited him. So all these guys have played such a big role in my life, and it just means the world to me. And I've had a Brandon Bunn, a Hunter Sipe. Those guys are so good at coaching, even though they might not, be calling plays or running a segment of practice. They're so good with the relationships, and especially when we're trying to integrate new guys. Those former players, there's nothing like having a peer to explain, this is how, he is, or, pay attention to this, or don't worry about that. Sort of helps with the nuances within the relationship. So, I love those guys so much, and life is short, so you want to spend as much time as you can around them, and so yeah, I hope we can keep doing that, keep it in the family.
You played at Monterey Peninsula and Laverne,
Yep.
D3.
Yeah.
Looking back on those days, what did they teach you to help get you to this point?
Just how to be patient with a young, sort of dumb, arrogant 19-year-old, 20-year-old, whatever. I mean, it's so long ago, the way coaching was back then, and I'm still young. One of the younger coaches in our league, I don't think how people were coached back then in the basketball landscape, it's night and day from how it is now. And if we're just being totally honest, and I'm telling the truth in here, and I should look into the camera and say I was not as good as the guys that I coach. Obviously, I played Division III and played junior college I think the thing that was most important for me at a young age was I got exposed to like how big of a deal college basketball is at any level. For example, how hard coaches scout and how much they care about a scouting report and how much, they prepare for games. And I don't know how else to say it, just how much it matters, how much they care. And I think there's a lot of beauty in that and a lot of equity in it. Everybody shows up and they were, good wherever they came from, and none of that matters as soon as you start competing. So getting humbled was a really good thing for me. Being exposed to guys from different backgrounds. I was a late bloomer. I grew really late. So I was sort of treading water when I got to the college level. And obviously, any Division III athlete, not just me, you're playing NCAA basketball because you really want to. You're not getting paid to play. You're not on a full ride scholarship. I came out of the community college level and had gotten a lot better, but not good enough to go get my entire education paid for like the guys I coach now. I was just so obsessed with basketball. It was my favorite thing. It was my hobby, and so I just didn't want to turn away from it. And so played at a Division III school in a great conference that's actually produced a lot of great coaches, and just continued to be obsessed with it. And I was a political science pre-law major and thought I'd do law school, but at the end of college, same thing. I was just still obsessed with it. So started coaching college that next year, and the rest is sort of history.
Is this easier than going the law route?
Oh yeah, that stuff's insane.
Right?
I only majored in political science because when I showed up, they told me you have to pick a major, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought about my family and my friends and their parents, and my uncle Alex, my dad's brother, is a successful lawyer who lives in San Diego, and I'd go visit him at his house when I was growing up, and he didn't have kids, so he just had all these toys. Like, he had a Porsche, and he had all these things, and he had, tickets to Padres games, and I just thought that lifestyle would work for me. So I should do something like him. And then as soon as I started taking those classes, I realized
maybe not.
Uncle Alex is a little smarter than me and a little more apt to that world. There was no way I was going to come out of the LSAT and go to law school. I knew that basically my final semester of undergrad. So good thing it didn't go that way.
When do you think the light bulb turned on for you and you knew that you could coach?
I thought I could do it. I just didn't know I could make money doing it, or have it as a profession. It's, Shawn, I can't stand arrogant coaches. Like, I don't think, I know all that much. I was an educator until I got to, St. Martin's. We had a ton of success at South Puget Sound. But make no mistake, I was an educator until 3 p.m. I did academic advising. I taught classes as an adjunct faculty member. I had a great full-time position as an educator. So I would do academic advising, admin stuff, teach classes. I was an interim AD. But at that level, you're an educator, and you're just lucky to have 25% of your contract wrapped up in athletics. So I loved that. And in 2019, when I was interviewing at St. Martin's, I was 37 years old. And it was actually my 37th birthday when I interviewed and got hired. So the answer is probably 37. When I was 37, I realized I'm actually going to get an opportunity to coach basketball full time. Until then, I thought, get a master's degree, get equipped to be an educator, and whether it's college or high school, hopefully you can get an opportunity to stay in the game. And I've been really, really lucky in both worlds as an educator and as a coach to just, continue on with it.
So at South Puget Sound, you went from wearing many hats to then getting that great birthday present at St. Martin's. Why St. Martin's for you?
More humility. They were the only school that wanted to hire. I couldn't get a job. I had applied for D2 jobs. I mean, let's be honest here. There was other jobs in the GNAC that had opened, and I couldn't get an interview. So it wasn't on my terms that I picked St. Martin's. St. Martin's picked me, and that's like a big thing in my life. As soon as we had success, I never thought about it as a lily pad job that would get me to something else. St. Martin's kind of grabbed me out of their backyard when I was really young, and I had no experience at the NCAA Division II level. I had coached at Concordia University, and they were transitioning from NAI to D2, but apparently, I wasn't good enough to interview at some of these schools, and so really powerful thing, when somebody in any part of life says, I believe in you. When you get hired to work with the Storm, I mean, it's a powerful thing. Somebody says, I believe in you, and you want to go kill it. So keep that on the record. I did not pick St. Martin's. St. Martin's picked me, and I just felt incredibly lucky to have that opportunity. One of the best birthdays I've ever had.
How did you celebrate it?
It was like a all-day marathon interview. Met everybody on campus, and it kept sort of progressing. So I felt like I had pretty good momentum. And at the end of it, the late Bob Grisham, who I grew to love, he said, okay, we're going to do a background check. And the board member said, you got anything you're hiding? And I felt like, oh man, this is going to really happen. So as soon as we, parted ways at the end of the day, it was like 6 o'clock. I picked up a couple pizzas from Vic's, which, I'm sure you like their pizza just like everybody else who lives around here. And Tyler Velasquez and his wife Shannon, they, I think, grabbed some beers and came over to our house, and we put our daughter to bed. She was a year old and stayed up all night celebrating. And then after a couple slices of pizza and a couple beers, I started recruiting Tyler. Most important recruit in year one. So just immediately got to work on recruiting him. So
a difficult start at St. Martin's, mostly because of COVID. How did you navigate that, and what did you learn from it?
You're being super kind, because we sucked before COVID. I mean, we were 6-23, and our season was over before mid-March when they sent everybody home. So that's kind of you. COVID made it hard to get things rolling, but our first year we were a last place team. We were really young, and I was really young, and just trying to figure it all out. I mean, we didn't even know these places that we were going to be traveling to in the GNAC or, anywhere in Division II. So just like anybody else, you're often not very good when you start. And COVID, in a weird way, was probably helpful for us because I just felt like COVID blew everything up in the GNAC, to be honest. I mean, Seattle Pacific won the GNAC that year, I think in 2019. COVID was like a grenade into the positive momentum they had. COVID was a grenade into the negative momentum that we had as a last place team. So it just sort of wiped the slate clean for everybody. Everybody was made uncomfortable, and for somebody trying to sustain success, that'd be really difficult. For somebody that had a terrible year, it kind of wipes everything clean and makes you start kind of from ground zero with everybody else, at least coming out of COVID, just trying to figure out how to play a game. So tough start, but it's honestly, it's the best thing that could have ever happened to go through that, and just needed to get humbled again, like a lot of people do as they're getting older and going through stages of life. It was good for the soul to take 23 losses.
Who's been beneficial to you as you were a younger coach trying to make it in this game?
Brad Barbarick, just because would love to shout him out as a mentor. When I was 27, 28, I was coaching high school basketball, and he was like one of the college coaches that would actually get on the phone with me and talk about opportunities. So he gave me a shot as a graduate assistant at Concordia University in Portland. That's what brought me to the Northwest, and So it wasn't just like on court, teaching stuff. The Kentucky layup drill that all our players hate, that's from Coach Barbarick. But, it was more about just what happened in my life. My girlfriend moved up and joined me in Portland a few months after I moved up. And, that's my wife now. And we're in the Northwest. And so, none of that happens without him. So he was huge for me. But there's so many people that, I've had the pleasure of getting to know along the way. It's impossible to, try to list them all. But I would say, he's a huge one just because he's the guy that sort of brought me up and gave me a platform to get back into coaching and into the Northwest basketball scene, which I dearly love now.
Here at the Crossroads, we want to get to a point of a time either in your personal life or professional life where you've been at a crossroads. What was that situation and how did you get through it?
I think, the people that follow our program know I missed the entire 24-25 season. You sent me a couple messages checking in on me. Had reconstructive spinal surgery, and that was way harder than I thought it would be. I've had surgeries before, but it was happening through the course of the season. I was trying to get back and getting epidural injections in November and December, trying to get back for conference, and then in December, things got really bad and had to get sort of rushed into surgery quickly. So it all happened really fast, and then the recovery didn't go how I was told it was going to go. It was a bumpy road, and I think, I always tell my guys, our job is to never get too high, never get too low. And, you think you're leading all these young guys as a coach, don't get too high, don't get too low. When things were not going well, I got way too low. And so then as my body finally started to turn a corner where I was able to, just be on my feet and be at work, I was dealing with, the mental side of it. And that could be a whole different podcast. Just my mental health, my anxiety. I just didn't think I was the same coach, and I wasn't. So just leaned into faith, and just got lucky. God's blessed me. It goes back to coming into the season. Tyler Velasquez, Wesley Reynolds they're lifting me up, and the kids on our team were, carrying my luggage around, and just emotionally, those guys brought me back to life. The staff, the kids, and obviously my family. So that's been probably the biggest crossroads for me as an adult. But I know with some perspective, I've lost my two previous bosses have died, one of ALS and one of a sudden aneurysm. So I've been pretty lucky. So I don't want to sit here like I've been through that much adversity. That'd be lying.
When you came back to coaching from time off with that injury, was there a moment when you thought, okay, I'm back mentally, feeling right?
Man, I've never thought about that. I didn't. That's a great question. No, there wasn't, because we went out. Our initial weekend, our opening weekend, was out in Hawaii. So I guess I would say,
rough.
Yeah. But I was anxious about the flight because the area of my spine that was impacted by the injury that I had surgery on it. You don't want to be compressing your spine, so you don't want to be sitting down for 5.5 hours.
Right.
I didn't know how that was going to be. I was really physically weak, and we got out to Hawaii, and then, Tyler actually had an emergency. So I remember we had gotten to the gym, and I didn't know if Tyler was going to, make it to the game, and he ended up let me know, I'll be there about 30 minutes before it starts. And so I was like, oh, this is crazy. You're back in it. And I was sure glad that he showed up, because the game moves so fast in college. I mean, prepare all you want, but I was a mess. He had my back. We were playing against some weird zone and started finding some corner threes, and we won that game. And at the end of that night, we were back at the hotel getting ready for our next opponent. And I just remember feeling like, this is so cool. Like, no matter what happens tomorrow, we won a game. We're at this hotel preparing for the next opponent, having a drink, looking at our film and our opponent. I mean, that's my favorite thing to do with those guys, is just sit around arguing up late. None of us take each other too seriously, so it's always fun to just stay up all night and try to prepare something that's really buttoned up and sharp, so that when our team wakes up in the morning, they can feel super confident that we really, really worked our asses off to prepare them to play. And they have no idea, behind the scenes, how much, laughter and fun there is. We probably have no idea how much fun they're having doing the same stuff in their rooms with their teammates and staying up, even though we tell them to go to bed. And that's sort of the beauty of it all, is just to get up and lock in the next day. And we did that. We won another game. And over that trip, I just sort of felt like, one, I figured out we got a really cool team. And two, just to be back in the fray, as I call it, I was just grateful to God that I was coaching basketball. I wasn't thinking so much about I'm going to coach this and this. I was just happy to be out there with my guys. So, yeah, it's a great way to start the year.
If you have a recruit, maybe their parents, looking into your program, looking into St. Martin's, why should they consider an Aaron Landon-led team and St. Martin's University?
Wouldn't be about me. I would say right now, I'm going to get on the phone when we get off. I told you I'm driving to Portland, and I have to get on the phone with a guy, and I'm going to talk about our players. We've got pretty good retention. We lost a couple guys to the transfer portal. We had no seniors, and we return a really good group. We return a bunch of guys that have started games. We return a bunch of guys that have won a championship. They know how hard that is. Guys that have played in the NCAA tournament, they want more. That's what I'll talk about. It's just how cool those guys are. As good as they are at competing in the GNAC, they're fun to travel with. We've got another really cool schedule that we're about to announce here in a week or so. And, to come be along for that ride, that's really fun for me as an adult. So I can't imagine as a student athlete anything more fun than playing with the guys that we've got in our program now. We've got a bunch of guys from totally different backgrounds, all over the world, all over the country. They get along. They're feisty with each other in practice. They'd kill for each other if we were out, somewhere and their teammates were being messed with. They're just cool kids. And when I call them kids, it's with the deepest respect. They're adults. College basketball, to me, is the last place in their lives, last stop where they can be a kid. And I just think St. Martin's has done a great job of supporting us, encouraging us to go play a national schedule, and travel and go play big-time opponents and, try to go get on that national stage. The national rankings, they don't matter a ton to us, but those games, they encourage us to go play, win or lose. That's a pretty cool thing to go do, and not every school is fortunate enough to send their student athletes out to compete like that. So that's the pitch. To me, it just goes back to, if you were at the park, you'd want to go find the 4 other best players and get on their team before you get on, because that helps you stay on the court. And so our thing is no different. You need to go find the best players and try to extend your season so that you can stay on the court. At St. Martin's, you get a top-notch education, but that's... in our world now, it's not talked about as much as it should be with NIL and sort of the year-to-year thing. So that's still our world. I still live in it. I still push these guys the way my parents pushed me academically, but the basketball's super fun. And so that's the pitch, is look at the group of players that we have and get on the bus. Otherwise, you got to play against us.
Nobody has a crystal ball and knows exactly what tomorrow holds. But in the GNAC, there are multiple coaches that have been around 10, 15, 20 years. Do you see yourself longer term at St. Martin's?
Yeah, but I don't really, maybe this is a dark way of looking at it, but when Bob Grisham, the AD that hired me, passed away.
Nicest man ever.
Yeah, I mean, he was just a gem, and he really rescued me just as a insecure coach that had finished in last place. Like in COVID, I felt like I was really low, and he was just an uplifting spirit, you know. He wasn't talking about wins and losses. He was just talking about staying alive and staying positive. And yeah, I don't know. When he passed, it was in the middle of our second championship run, and we had special kids. And I remember the week that he passed, I'll never forget, we got on the road right away. It was like the best thing for us to just get out of town. And you know, Bob was a graduate assistant at Western Washington. Well, we were up at Western Washington, and I was crying before the game. And I remember Skinny, our former point guard, ran up to me, grabbed me, and he's like, "We got you tonight. We got you tonight." And I was a mess. Just when the game was about to start, not up until that point. But they were talking about Bob before we started the game. We had a moment of silence, and I just broke down. Well, that night, I remember we stayed up late, and I think we went to a Buffalo Wild Wings or something, and I just was like, you know what? Yeah, we got to just start enjoying these nights and these kids. So
Because they don't last forever.
they don't. So, you know, the career trajectory stuff, there's so much more important stuff. I genuinely believe that, and I want to just enjoy every single moment with the guys that we have right now, because you never know when they're gonna, you know, transfer or whatever. And I won't get to coach with Tyler, I'm sure, too much longer. I mean, he's really well regarded. I'm gonna enjoy like every single minute with that guy. Him and Wesley, I mean, I just want to enjoy the time that we have, and my family. I got 2 little girls, and I'm just trying to make this year last as long as possible before I turn the page to the next year. So I guess the serious answer is I'm just focused on the summer. I just want to have a super fun summer and do as much cool stuff as I can, and then try to create another incredible year for the guys in our program.
And I think part of the crazy part with all the success your team had in 25-26, winning the GNAC tournament, getting to the NCAA tournament, all of that goes back to square one.
It's over, right? I mean, the one thing that when you win championships, after the first one in 22, we won it again the next year, but it was like a whole different deal. We were picked to win the conference. There was more pressure and all that. But I think what we learned is, even if you have good returning players, like, none of that counts. I mean, because guys that played well the year before, there's new teammates to bring in, their role may change and all of that. Like, everybody has to adapt and develop. So I think the only thing that the championships do is they just make it they just make it harder, because everybody, I don't want to use the word hate, I'll use the word love. I mean, people love to see St. Martin's lose in our conference. You know what I mean? People love to beat St. Martin's. I mean, you feel that. I just, it's how it should be. I know when we came into the league, Seattle Pacific won it. I mean, we were looking at guys that they had in their program at that time, like, how do we match up with these guys? So it's a big task, so you just got to wipe it. And I think sometimes guys think I'm negative because I'm saying, oh, none of that matters, you know, but
It's true.
Yeah, it is, right? I mean, we're just trying to figure out how to win a ball game right now. So we'll host the conference challenge this year with the GNAC and the Pac West and Lacey. November 13th, 14th. And so I think we open with Hawaii Hilo. I mean, we just got to figure out how to go win that game. But nothing that happened this year. Those 26 wins, they're not going to help us. If anything, they might work against us because they'll get the other teams fired up. So start from scratch, and we'll give our guys some championship rings. But other than that, that's a wrap. I got some cool pictures from it that Davis captured, and we got some sweatshirts, and other than that, that's about it.
You got some nets you've cut down?
Yeah, we hide those in the office, and so that when players come in, they can. I would never wear one of those rings, so we put them out. We say, you got to get you one of those, and
you know what it is? It's proof. It's proof that backs up what you say.
Yeah, but all I would say is this: you've watched us play, and been on those broadcasts. We have had the best players in the league. Not close. I mean, you mentioned it early. I count up all those all-conference players or conference MVPs or newcomers of the year and all that. St. Martin's has been really good because we've had the best players. There's a lot of times you're coaching and you're going against another head coach and you're switching, or something like that, for example, and you see them setting up to punish your switches, and it just ends up that you may have a better player, and it's hard to find a mismatch, and it's hard to hunt a bad defender because you've got 5 really good players on the floor. So it's not proof that I've got some secret sauce or Tyler does. I think it's just proof that if you're good enough, you can win here. There's no barrier. We're not going to get in your way. We'll let you rock out if you're good enough. And we've just had such incredible players that they've gotten the job done. And that's really the name of the game. I try to get better as a coach, but no coach has all the answers. So you're just trying to get the best players that can cover your tail when you have an idea that sucks and it's not working. Have a player step up and hit a tough shot.
Last question for you, Coach. In the Great Northwest Athletic Conference, who do you consider your rival?
Easy. I mean, it's Northwest Nazarene. There's like a bunch of history with our alumni and other schools. The group from the late 60s, early 70s, like those guys, they would cringe. They would say, no, it's Central. And then the guys from those 2010 to 2020, they text us if we beat Western. That's when Western was dominating and
right.
Won a natty and all that. But I think for our group, it's been Northwest Nazarene. And it's just, I would give you such a long answer because it's historically based and it's good for both programs. Like the times that I've been in the NCAA tournament, NNU's there too, and one of the nights that we cut down a net, 22, we beat NNU. And then like a week later, it was their magic run when they were the 6th seed and they won the tournament and they beat us. And after those wins, their guys are yelling at us, but our guys are doing the same thing. And Paul Rush, who used to be the coach, and I had
now the AD?
Yeah, now the AD. I thought Paul was a really good coach. I mean, about as good as there is, and really admired the way he set up his defense. And John Hawkins, who's the coach now, was with Paul every step of the way, and he was a part of that. So those guys, they have a good program. They've been successful. We've been successful. And so you got to have a rival that's good if you're good. And so, yeah, I would say that. It's just, I don't know how to measure the rivalry in the GNAC. They're not in our, they're not in our state or anything like that. They're just another good team that is competitive, and for whatever reason, they don't like us. They used to beat us up and run up the score during COVID, and I know when we've been on, the good end of it, our guys have probably mouthed off. So that's what a rivalry should be like, and yeah, that's got to be the rivalry. I don't think that you try to play it down. I think you got to build it up. Like if our team next year is out there losing at NNU, I'm going to tell them they're ruining my life. So yeah, that's a good rivalry in the GNAC right now.
Well, I know I don't have to tell you this. You know where the GNAC tournament is in 27.
Yeah.
NNU.
Yeah, we don't like we don't want to be in Nampa. And they hate Lacey. No, I don't know.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, look.
Let's pack the bags.
It's like you said, we haven't won a game. So I just want to make the tournament. Like, no joke. That's our mentality.
You got to start there, for sure.
We never talked about winning a title this year until we were on that flight, going up to Alaska and winning 1 out of 2 would clinch. Then we talked about it, to try to put it to bed. You want to get into the tournament. Bob Grisham, again, like, he set the expectation that the standard of the job is not. I walked into a tricky situation because Alex Pribble had done a great job. They had won it, and maybe he was trying to, keep my head cool, but he said, just finish in the top 6, because once you get into that weekend,
anything can happen.
Anything can happen, and if you win it, now we're in the NCAA tournament, so we just want to be in that GNAC tournament with a chance to fight out in Nampa and, eat our pregame at Cafe Zupa's and, take the guys to, they got a new In and Out over there now. So it's what we eat after the game if we're fortunate enough to be out there, win a game, and go to the next day, which is, what that tournament's about. That's a really cool tournament, so I'm biased. I like going to Bellingham. That's where we've had our best tournament success. But
you just did.
Yeah, and Bellingham's a great town. It has some good food, and I love that Western campus. And so, but it's all over, right? So now we're just trying to figure out how to get on an airplane to Nampa and just try to figure out how to win a game.
Aaron Landon, head coach of St. Martin's University men's basketball. Thank you so much for your time. All your candid responses. Best of luck in 26-27, and hopefully we see you in Nampa in the GNAC tournament.
Yep, just if I can see you in Nampa, I'll be happy.
Aaron Landon, the Crossroads. Davis Carbaugh, thank you so much for your time and your assistance here today. Thank you for watching. This is the Crossroads, Aaron Landon.